In 2 days' time, on Saturday the 25th of February, the might of Australian content creators will clash at Leaguecombe Oval as two teams battle it out on a rugby league field in front of real people for the cause of charity. And with all of these creators and what they can do behind a screen, what can we expect to see what they can do on the field? Well, you have one of the NRL YouTubers that does predictions on sporting events is going to try and break it down and see how this whole thing will play out. My name is ZTank99 and this is my SportshedTV Charity Match 2023 predictions. So traditionally, as with all predictions videos, you've got to break down the teams. So we're going to be breaking down each team, picking out some players who I think is going to have a very interesting impact and which could change the face of the game in favour of their team. As we go into the teams, obviously, one team is going to be playing for the charity of the Hughes Foundation, and the other one, the Ronald Mcdonald House for Greater Western Sydney. So starting off, we're going to be going into the Hughes Foundation team. So looking over the Hughes Foundation team, I've got to say, you got two Novocastrians in the team, so already off to a good start with me. Obviously, you got the Watsu and the Castle boys. One starting at 13, another one at 18, potentially an impact sub. Definitely 13, could see some Kurt Mann vibes, maybe. Potentially see, arguably Kurt Mann is the greatest player in the NRL, so be good to see how he goes there. Seeing some block roll there. Obviously, the halves pairing is going to be a major impact in this match, and Hughes Foundation obviously has arguably probably the strongest one you could probably field out of anybody in rugby league content creation or just content creation in general. Obviously, got John Bernard Kairouz at the 7. I hope I pronounced that name right. Don't know. Absolute unit. Actually plays rugby league, so that is a definite plus there. Also in the 6, you've also got his brother Nicholas, so it's going to be a familial affair. Probably, again using another Knights example, definitely a Matthew Andrew Johns type beat, but definitely a lot more physical and probably on less drugs. Also, one thing that I have noticed, which is a little bit interesting, is that obviously this team is where the 3 SportshedTV boys will be playing on, as you've got Norman and Adrian. Norman is playing on as the number 3 centre, whilst Adrian is playing as the number 5 winger. So they're on opposite sides of the field. I think you want to cover all bases aside, but I feel like a bit of a missed opportunity there. Maybe swap around Norman for Trademark Sports. You know, you get that right-hand side of attack from SportshedTV, but also got Zane Potter. Very interesting decision coming off the bench, but again, probably going to be another impact player. I mean, absolute IQ coming off the bench is probably what you need after some people get absolutely sparked by shoulders. So all in all, a very solid team to say the least. And now we move on to the Ronald McDonald House team. Now looking into this team, and obviously we have got, the first one that comes onto my mind is Entertain House, coming off the bench. Absolute impact sub there. Going to be the Patrick Carrigan of the charity match, obviously for his exploits in Queensland. And obviously he's a Queenslander as well, so that's going to hopefully rub off on him. Hectic Fred at lock is going to be a very interesting play as well. Definite IQ, going to be very well. Who's the Bulldogs lock? Now we'll just use Kurt Mann as the base level of greatest locks of all time. Hopefully we get to see a bit of him. I do know that Olin Tekkers has actually pulled out of the match itself. He will be commentating alongside BKR Sport. But just trying to think off the bench who could probably come out and replace him. That's going to be a key factor, obviously, for the second row for the Ronald McDonald House team, is getting a good replacement for Olin Tekkers. You also got Mahmood Ismail actually playing at fullback. I hope I got that right. I really suck at pronouncing non-basic white names. But feel like he's going to be quick. He's got a bit of size and height to him, which is going to be good enough. It's not going to get shrugged off very easily. But obviously, when it comes to this team, it is again the halves pairing that's going to get the most centre of attention. It is, of course, Shaq TV at halfback. And, of course, at 5'8", the main event, the main draw, the head of the table, the tribal chief himself, the Prince of Belmore, Jason David, coming at the 6. It is going to be what we're going to be seeing from the hit from Jason David in this game. Absolute Darren Lockyer display at Lidcombe Oval. Lidcombe Oval would have not seen anything as spectacular since the Fibros versus Silvertails fights back in the 60s and 70s. That is the level we're talking about here when it comes to Jason David. Now, when coming into potential things that could happen in the match, I am a little bit concerned, really, with two players specifically. One from each team is Mahmoud Ismail and John Bernard. So, the thing is with both of them is majority of their content is surrounded about interviewing, or not interviewing, but doing monologues around certain places where they are and talking to people. I am a little bit worried that potentially something might be said, like a code word. It's like they're a sleeper agent for it. Something gets said to them, and then they both just start monologuing about Lidcombe, and they start interviewing people, being distracted from the match. I feel like this would affect more the Ronald Mcdonald team, because Mahmoud Ismail is actually the fullback, rather than John Bernard being a halfback for the Mark Hughes Foundation team. So I'd much rather a halfback go on a monologuing tangent and being distracted rather than the fullback, especially if a line break does occur. That could be costly for the Ronald McDonald House team. But again, I also do think that kicking game is going to be very important. I mean, and Jason David, I think, is going to be the absolute best kicker. I mean, Burton bombs. People are saying about his Burton bombs and he's been practicing, but I think his short grubber game is going to be very important to give the edge to the Ronald McDonald House team, to say the least. So a little bit of a minus with Mahmoud potentially going into a TikTok monologue about Lidcombe, but you could also see the superb kicking game from Jason David being the main factor. So now this is going to be an interesting decision, as what do I think is going to happen? Who will win? Will it be the Mark Hughes Foundation, or will it be the Ronald McDonald House team? Both teams have equally good players. I think it's going to be a very tight and contentious game. I do feel like the early couple of minutes, it's setting the benchmark, get the nerves out of them after the first 5-10 minutes, and then focus on the rest of the 50 because it's 30-minute halves. I do think the Mark Hughes Foundation team might just scrape it out. But it's going to be a very tight game and a great day to watch. Also, I probably would be more end up backing them because I judge teams based off how many Novocastrians are in the team, and currently it's 2-0 in favour of the Mark Hughes Foundation team. So, I mean, what that proves is, obviously, with State of Origin, the more players from Newcastle you have in your team, the more likely you're going to win. So that is going to be my prediction there. I'm going to say, so my final score prediction is going to be 28 points to 20. It's still going to be a very close game. Relatively decent scoring. If I had to put any money on in terms of players and all that, I think player of the match could very much well be Jason David if it was to spur on a Ronald McDonald House victory. But when it comes down to the Mark Hughes Foundation team, I think it's going to be on the back of John Bernard bringing this team with his leadership for getting the win. So that's why I think it's going to be the player of the match. First try scorer is, I'm actually going to go with Jordan Simi from the Ronald McDonald House. I feel like he's going to be a player that's going to be very hard to stop near the line. He's just going to burrage over whatever hapless soul is going to be trying to stop him and just plant the ball over the line. So I think he's going to be the first try scorer, but it's going to be a fantastic event regardless of what actually happens in terms of results. I'll be going down there to watch. There's still tickets available, so there's a link in the description to go get them. You can also buy them at the gate. So it should be a fantastic event. Hopefully to see you all there. Thank you all for watching for this predictions video. And it's going to be a great day for content creation in Australia. And hopefully the first of many of these events.